Hi, my name is Dayna, and I live in New Hampshire, and I'm an advocate for something called unschooling. Now, I think most people have heard of homeschooling, but not many people have heard of unschooling. And what unschooling is delight-driven learning. It's a type of homeschooling where the child is not doing school at home, you're not doing a curriculum, it's not uneducating, it's just a totally different form and belief of how children learn. Now, John Holt in the 1970s coined the term, and there hasn't been a whole heck of a lot heard about it since then, but I am one of the strong advocates out and about today. I was on the Dr. Phil show talking about it recently, back at the end of November. Unfortunately, my husband and I weren't really given the opportunity to share the full scope of what unschooling was because they definitely had an agenda to make us look a little wacky. So I really wanted to come on YouTube and just explain a little bit more about what it is. Unschooling is based on the belief that children learn best when they're internally motivated. Now, I know Tony Robbins even talks about internal motivation being the key to learning and to succeeding in life, and it's the same idea. It's passion-driven learning. It's having the idea that not everybody's meant to do the same thing in life. Everybody's so different, and so thinking that everybody needs the same curriculum to succeed is really, really not true at all. You know, the schools have only been around for 175 years, and when they first were established, it was because so many immigrants were coming over to the country, and we really wanted to teach them how to be factory workers, basically. So the overall tone of schools is teaching obedience, teaching being told what to do. It's teaching people to get used to taking orders. Now, I mean, learning, true learning, comes from the internal drive, the need from the learner, not from somebody else telling you what to do. So, I mean, schools need grades. They need, like, to motivate, children to learn what somebody else wants them to learn, when in fact you're just doing what you have to do to get a good grade rather than to really learn the topic. So unschooling really has to do with the belief of how children learn, the true belief. Now, it's amazing, actually, that so few people have heard about this. I'm so excited about YouTube to be able to come on here and tell people about this because it's changed my life. It's healed me from my own school experience. Now, my own school experience wasn't awful. It was just so little of it had to do with actually learning. Most of my learning came from things I really wanted to know about. Like I said, 175 years ago, schools have been around, and since then, and gosh, I mean, back in the day where schools were really, becoming popular, a lot of people worked on farms. There wasn't a lot of resources at home to, like, extend your knowledge, to learn more. So you had to go to school because they had all the books, they had all the learning resources, but we're in a totally different day and age. I mean, gosh, the internet, television, magazines, books, there's so many resources. There's nothing that you can't learn at home that you can learn in school, nothing. In fact, you can learn even more so, like by spending your time pursuing your passions. So I just wanted to just share just a little intro about what unschooling was. I think there's currently like 100,000 unschoolers in the country today, and it's, the community basically communicates through online, like, Yahoo groups, and even in my own area, there's nobody else I know that unschools in person. I mean, I know people online, but there's so few people doing it because I don't think a lot of people know about it. Most homeschoolers do school at home, meaning they buy a curriculum, they sit at the kitchen table and basically do what schools do. But that's, forced learning is not the way to go. Now, my children chase their passions, and they're so individualized what they like to learn about. My son loves to learn about the ocean, about nature. My daughter Dakota is mostly into art and so forth right now. I just trust them. So much of it has to do with trusting your children and their ability to learn. I don't look at myself as their teacher. Like, I'm not standing in front of them as the all-knowing authority pouring knowledge into them at all, but I look at myself like their facilitator. It's my job to give them as much of the world as possible for them to choose from and for them to be drawn to, and then we take off from there. We give them as many resources. We're there by their side. Many people have said to me, well, if your child's not in school or you're not doing traditional schoolwork and grading, how do you know what your child's learning? Well, I mean, how did you know when your child learned to walk or talk? Well, you were there, right? It's the same thing with unschooling. I'm here. I know what they learn. I'm here right with them. I don't need somebody else telling me what they learn because they're not with me. And it's a really joyful life. It sounds kind of a little weird maybe, but education is not the goal of unschooling. The goal of unschooling is to help your child become who they're meant to be in life. But they do get an education as a side effect of living a rich, full, exciting life together with lots of resources, lots of fun things to do. it's kind of also like reprioritizing. You know, I think in our culture today, just the way it's set up, it's like education comes first before anything. You know, before family, before fun, before happiness, before chasing passions, and it really shouldn't be that way. I really think it's the stemming, the base of so many of our problems in our culture, that we don't put family first. Now, you know, as an unschooling family, we put family first on the top of that list. You know, education happens, it's important. Yeah, it's part of life. I want my kids to love to learn, but our family, our relationship, and our connection comes first and foremost. Everything else is secondary. So it's just kind of taking a hold and taking charge of your life, and you don't have to have your children just learn to be obedient. I mean, you want them to be strong individuals. You know, teaching a child by a curriculum or doing school, you know, going to school, you're basically teaching them oftentimes how to be yes men, how to like take orders, how to get used to working for other people and doing as they say. Not this way. Unschooling, we're teaching them how to be free-thinking entrepreneurs, and that my children will be. My son's already had his own business, and so it's taking charge. It's realizing that we are in a day and age where change is happening rapidly. Schools, yeah, I think there's a place for them. I think they'll always be around. But you know what? I want people to know that there's other ways. You can live a happy, joyous, wonderful, free life. You know, when your child's part of the school system, you have to be the one to kind of like see that all the school's wishes. You have to kind of be the bad guy. You have to be the one to enforce homework, to be the one to make sure your child gets up early, to make sure your child goes to bed early, instead of following their natural rhythms and just going to bed when they're tired and waking up when they're done sleeping. I mean, you can have such a free, joyful, wonderful life, and your children will learn right alongside of you and learn to love learning instead of so many children that hate it because it's being forced down their throats, things that don't mean anything to them. When your child doesn't have any forced learning, boy, their passions, they bloom, they grow. I mean, I can't even say anymore right now because I have to go do a few things, but I just wanted to do this quick intro. This is one of many, many little sessions I want to do on YouTube, and thank you so much for watching. Whoever chose to sit down and listen to me through this, I really appreciate it, and I hope I can help a lot of people. I feel like it's one of my passions, my calling in life, to teach people about this, because our life is just so wonderful with all this new information, and I want to help you change your life too and make your family be closer than the average person, and we can do it. We could change the world by doing this. So thank you very much. Have a great night.